Hello, welcome back, 8th grade. Welcome to our 5th lesson in second step. This lesson is titled, Pursuing My Interests. So in today's lesson, we'll identify and respond to what's influencing us as we pursue something that we're interested in. Remember last week, we explored how to use our strength at getting good at something new, getting better at something new. So this lesson is going to connect where we're going to identify and respond to what influences us as we pursue an interest. So let's go to the first warm-up. So you see Christina, this is Miss Christina. Miss Christina is holding a camera, and it looks like she's really interested in photography. Christina wants to pursue her interest in photography. I want you to think about these two questions, and these two questions will be listed in your student handout, and you're going to answer them on your handout, and we're going to talk about the responses as a class. But let's look at the very first question. What would make it easier for Christina to succeed? What roadblocks might get in Christina's way? So think about those first two warm-up questions and write them down on your worksheet, and we'll respond as a class. I'll give you a couple minutes. Okay, so let's look at what are positive factors. Positive factors are things such as thoughts, beliefs, events, situations, or people that contribute to a good outcome or increase your chances of success. Think about that. What are some positive factors? And I'll give you a moment before I show you some examples. So let's look at some examples of some positive factors. So one positive factor would be encouragement from friends. Having a study group, that's a positive factor. Help from teachers, always. That's a beautiful positive factor. Staying active. And having a growth mindset. These are all examples of positive factors. Now, let's look at what are some negative factors. Negative factors are things such as thoughts, beliefs, events, situations, or people that contribute to a bad outcome or decrease your chances of success. Think about that. Think about what is a negative factor. And then I'll show you some examples. So let's look at some negative factors. One would be lack of support from others. Stress. Stress can always be a negative factor. Lack of sleep. Criticism from friends and family. And having a fixed mindset. Having a fixed mindset that you won't do well. So if you think negative, then most likely your outcome will be negative. So these are all examples of negative factors. So let's move on to our activity. So let's look at the first three questions. And these questions are listed in your student handout. So the very first question, you're going to identify an interest. Think about the interest that you identified in your identity map from last time. So you're going to identify an interest you wrote on your identity map and write it on your handout. So that's the very first question. The second question, in the table on your handout, choose one positive factor and one negative factor that can influence your interest. So you're only going to choose one positive, you're going to check off one positive, then check off a negative. Number 3, with your partner, we won't be using a using a partner, we'll be doing this individually. So answer the questions in your activity section of your handout. I give you a couple of minutes to pull up your student handout. So remember from last time, we looked at Alex's identity map. So when you're pursuing an interest, you can take certain steps to help you make the most of your positive factors and decrease the effects of negative factors. So let's look at Alex. So remember, Alex was interested in theater, okay? A positive factor in pursuing his interest might be encouragement from his friends and family. That's always a positive factor. But a negative one may be his lack of confidence. He may not feel confident enough to perform in front of others. Alex could increase the positive factor by telling more friends and family about his interest in theater and inviting him to all of his plays that he will be in. Alex could decrease the effects of negative factor by reminding himself that being nervous, that's a part of performing on stage, and that is normal. He'll gain confidence the more and more that he performs. So this is Alex's identity map. If it helps you, you can possibly pull out your identity map from last time. But remember, in step 3, you'll be answering the 2 questions in step 3. The first question, how can you make the most of the positive factor that you chose? And how can you pursue your interest more successfully? And the second question, how can you decrease the effects of the negative factor that you chose? I'll give you a couple of minutes to answer those questions. So let's look at the wrap up. Think about this question. Who are some people in your life? Think about this. Who are some people in your life who can help you increase positive factors and decrease the effects of negative factors? So think about that question. I'll give you a moment to think about it, and we'll respond as a class. So today, class, remember what we discussed today. We explored some positive and some negative factors that influence us as we pursue our interests. This week, I really want you to think about asking from encouragement from your friends and from your family, or from anyone that you identified on your student handout. So on the next lesson, you'll imagine your future self and how you or how your identity might help to develop as you grow and become older. So I can't wait until we meet again next week, and we'll be moving on to lesson number 6. Lesson number 6 is titled Your Future Self. So I will see you on next Tuesday. Have an awesome week. See you later.